So now, the Zohar Kadosh in Parashat Shmot, page 14a, gives a parable or a lesson to teach us a little bit about this. It says that one time there was a bear. The bear saw a sheep and started chasing the sheep. And the sheep ran away. And the bear kept chasing after him. Until a human being, a shepherd, saw the sheep, saved the sheep, and shooed the bear away, scared him away. The Zohar says, if it wasn't for the bear, the man would never get the sheep. Meaning, the man should thank the bear. Why? Because the bear chasing the sheep, that's why you got the sheep. If the bear didn't chase the sheep, that sheep will probably still be roaming the land somewhere else, far, far away, out of your reach. In the same book of Shmot, the Torah says that Moshe Rabbeinu sees something peculiar. He sees that there's an Egyptian hitting a Jew, hitting a Ben Israel. Why? Because that Egyptian raped his wife, Shlomit, and the Jew saw him do it. So from embarrassment, the Egyptian decided to start hitting him until he died. Moshe saw the whole thing. The Ruach HaKodesh, he saw not only is the Egyptian evil for what he did, but the Jew is innocent of any crime that's being accused of him. It's enough that he's evil of what he did, but evil hitting someone innocent? At that moment, he killed the Egyptian. The next day, that Jew, that Ben Israel, argues with his brother-in-law. Why? His brother-in-law says, listen, you can't divorce my sister. You can't divorce my sister. He says, no, I have to divorce her. This Egyptian took advantage of her. Yeah, but exactly, took advantage of her. She didn't know. She didn't do it on purpose. Shlomi didn't do it on purpose. He said, I don't care if she did it on purpose, didn't do it on purpose. Listen, another man touched her. And they start arguing, and they start fighting, and they start hitting each other. Moshe Rabbeinu shows up again. Oh, guys, why are you a Rasha? Why are you about to hit your brother? So the same man that he saved the day before from the Egyptian, says, what are you going to do? Kill me like you killed the Egyptian yesterday? Moshe was shocked. He never knew a person could twist his head this way. Yesterday, save you, today you can be so ungrateful. Not only did this happen, but this same person went with his brother-in-law and said, you know what? Let's put our fight on hold. Let's go tell Paro about this Rasha over here that's trying to be a boss of us. They go still tell Paro. They go tell Paro, they have Moshe arrested, and Paro says, give me Moshe, give me my sword. They bring Moshe, and he tries to chop off his head. And the Zohar Kadosh says that Hashem miraculously turned Moshe's neck into something like stone. It hit his neck, but the sword broke, everybody froze in place, and it gave Moshe an opportunity to run away. Now, Moshe runs away, and the common Midrash says that he went to Ethiopia, he went to Cush, but in the Psukim we say that what happened after that, which is he went to Midian. He went to Midian, and he goes to the well, and in the well there's a bunch of people trying to rape these little girls. Because their father, Yitro, used to be their pope, and he decided to go off the derech. He decided that this is fake. So he said, you know what, we're going to punish Yitro, and by how we're going to punish him? We're going to rape his kids. We're going to rape his daughters. So they started to try to take advantage of his daughters. Moshe sees this. Moshe is Ish Kodesh. Does we touch her? They're innocent. You're guilty. He hits them. He makes them run away. And as you would have it, Moshe ends up marrying one of the girls named Tzipora. The Zohar Kadosh says, if it wasn't for the bear, the man would never get the sheep. If it wasn't for the bear, Moshe Rabbeinu would never have Tzipporah. If it wasn't for the Egyptian that raped the Bat Israel, that then hit her husband, that then got killed, that then got Moshe Rabbeinu ratted on and went to almost killed again from Paro, that chased him after. All of this, if all of this didn't happen, Moshe Rabbeinu would have never found his soulmate Tzipporah. And the same Zohar says, when Moshe Rabbeinu married Tzipporah, in Shamayim, they consider it as if he married the Shekhinah. As if he married the Shekhinah. The gematria of Tzipporah and the Shekhinah, same thing. But how did it come? It came in the ugliest possible way. It didn't come, oh, how are you? How are you? What family are you from? Oh, I'm family from this one. Oh, wow. What school did you go to? What school did you go to? Oh, wow. It wasn't like that. Death, killings, lying, ungratefulness, all types, the worst possible stuff happened. For what? For Hashem to bring Moshe from one corner of the world with Tzipporah in another corner of the world. We see this all over the Torah. Where did Mashiach come from? Yehuda. Yehuda was the leader of the sons of Yaakov. We are called Yehudim because of Yehuda. We're not called Reuvenim, which would be good for me. Probably get more people in the lectures. We're called Yehuda. Even though Reuven was the firstborn, we're not called Reuven. We're called Yehuda. Why? Yehuda went and found some prostitute, had sex with her, and next thing you know, he realizes, wait a minute, I messed up here. It's my daughter-in-law. I have to tell everybody. Yeah, but Yehuda, if they knew, they're going to kill you also. The fact that your daughter-in-law is now being accused of being a prostitute, that already it's bad enough. It's bad enough name for your family. Why? Because she's technically still kind of connected to you. She was married to 2 of your sons. That's already bad enough for you. It's already a bad name for your family. Now you're saying you're the one that did it with her? We're going to burn her and you together. So in essence, when Yehuda admitted that he's the one that did all of this, he was assuming the worst. What's the worst? They're going to kill me. They're going to kill me. It's better off they kill me than me going up to Shamayim a liar. Than me killing her and going up to Shamayim as a murderer. She, on the other hand, said, it's better off they burn me here than me going up to Shamayim and say, oh, you're the one that embarrassed Yehuda. From there we learn that it's better to go burn than to embarrass another person. Needless to say, Hashem says, you're both willing to get burned in this world just so you don't suffer in the next one. I'll save you in both. I'll save you in both. And not only I'll save you in both, I'll actually also show you where my hand was during this whole time navigating all the parts, because I made this piece and that piece come together. Why? Because I wanted to hide it from the Satan. I wanted to hide it from the Yetzer Hara that's constantly trying to go after and ruining all the good plans. So I had to make it look really, really ugly. Why? Because you're going to have 2 sons together. And one of them, Peretz, that's where Mashiach is coming from. That's where Mashiach is coming from. Yeah, but it's so ugly. Why can't he come from a nice lineage, from a nice family? Because then, at that point, if everything came nice and pretty, it would also hurt our free choice. It would hurt our free choice. It would hurt our logic. It would hurt our bitachon. It would be very, very hard to have bitachon in Hashem if everything that was good came from good. Because then Hashem will be predictable. As soon as something is bad, immediately we think it's bad. So through this, Hashem shows us that everything and anything is from His hands. One of the examples that Hashem actually one of the places that Hashem actually proves this to us is when he talks to the prophet Job. In chapter 14, verse number 4, Hashem talks to Job and tells him something very interesting. He says, he's comparing man to God. In the first verse, he says, a man born of a woman has a short lifespan and is sated with anxiety. He emerges like a blossom and is then cut down. He flees like a shadow and does not endure. He tells him, in so many words, Hashem tells Job the obvious. Like, who is man? Who is this creation of mine? But then he describes himself in a very interesting and strange way. If you don't understand the psukim, he says the following. In verse number 4, chapter 14 of Job, he says, Mi ten ta'or mitameh lo echad. He says to Job, who can produce purity from impurity? No one. Meaning no one but me. On one hand, he said, wait a minute, what's man? Man comes from a woman. Meaning already man depends on somebody else from the day he's born. He can't come by himself. No matter how many test tubes you're going to have, you're always going to have a woman as part of the equation. Doesn't matter how advanced science is going to be. People think that eventually you're going to be able to make babies in a lab, like a little chicken. You're always going to have a woman. He has a short lifespan. Everybody thinks they're going to live till 150 million. Nobody thinks they're going to die, but next thing you know, at some point everybody's clock ends. On top of it, throughout the whole way, from the minute he's born until the minute he dies, he always has anxiety. Why? Because he's unsure about everything. And even when he pretends to be sure, it's all fake. Some people laugh a lot because they have it's a defense mechanism. When I studied psychology in school, they told us this thing about how people do certain things. And then when I see it in actual life, it's like, wow, that's right. Wow, that's right. Wow, this guy's this. Why this guy's that? What? You see what people do. You see what people do. And you see how people act under certain conditions, which is really, really bizarre, because everybody does the same thing. Everybody does the same thing. Everybody has the same reactions. So, for example, if somebody is like, you ask them a question, and they lean back, or they fold their hands, and they give you an answer, whatever they're saying is most likely true. It's a very high likelihood of true, unless they're a professional liar. Why? Because they're showing you that simply by folding their hands and laying back, opening themselves up, they're open book, they're comfortable. They're not doing it on purpose. They're doing it subconsciously. They don't even realize that they're laying back and folding their hands. They don't know. They just do it naturally. Sometimes they just fold their hands, sometimes they lay back, sometimes a combination of both. But if somebody tells you that, automatically, it's a higher likelihood that they're telling you the truth, unless they're a professional liar, which at that point, why are you talking to them? On the other hand, if you ask somebody a question and they constantly touch themselves, and they're touching and they're touching and they're touching, that means most likely they're lying. Why? Because they're not comfortable, they're fidgety. Now some people are fidgety naturally. They're just always fidgety. They have this unfortunate situation. I met a few people like this. It's very uncomfortable to talk to them. Because they're constantly like this and you always think that something's going to fly at you. It's a problem. But the thing is though, is that no, it's not their fault. That's the way they are. They're fidgety. So that person is a little more difficult to read. But another person that's not normally fidgety, and now he becomes fidgety, there's something wrong here. And so on and so forth. This is actually good for kids when you teach kids, because kids don't really know the significance of lies when they're little. So they're going to lie to you. All kids lie. Unless they're angels, which... Come on. All kids lie at some point. And tell you, oh, did you pick up the stuff? Yeah, I picked it up. You picked it up? Yeah, I picked it up. You go over there. The whole thing is a bigger mess than you left it. You told me you picked it up. Oh, yeah, I did. I don't know who did it. I don't know who did it. Ovadia did it? What Ovadia? He's sleeping for 2 hours already. He's sleeping for 2 hours. What are you talking about? Sarah did it? You're Sarah. Oh, I don't know. That's the way kids are. That's the way kids. You don't know the significance of lying, not lying. Did you go? Did you this? They lie. So now, with little kids, it's obviously, don't be a cop on them, but the point is that you have to understand this. You have to know some of these things, because you don't know. Certain times, you ask them a question, it's really important you know the answer. You know the important answer. You do your homework? They say yes, but they go like this, and they're laughing, and they, yeah, I did it. Most likely they didn't do it. So, Job is telling us, look at the message I got from Hashem. Hashem meet people. These people are constantly anxious. These people are constantly lying. These people are constantly depending on something that's beyond them. Whereas I, Hashem, am the only one that can turn purity from impurity. I can produce purity from impurity. So what does it mean? Ta'or mitameh. Rabbi Ephraim says, look at this beauty. Mi ten ta'or, numerical value Gematria, 730. Tzipora and Moshe, 730. Who can make such an ugly picture that looked impure? Some Egyptian rapes a Bat Israel, and that Bat Israel's husband wants to leave her, and then they fight, and they tell on Moshe, and then this, and all of this happened. It looked terrible, it looked tameh, it looked disgusting. But look at the beautiful marriage that we have in the end of Moshe Rabbeinu and Tzipora. The prophet Job is telling us, look what Hashem told me here. If he can make such an ugly picture turn into something so beautiful, needless to say, he's also the only one that can make your personal ugly picture into the most beautiful story in the world. It's the same God. Why do we have the stories in the Torah? Not so we can learn it like a history book, chas v'shalom. It's to tell us that the same thing can happen to you. Yeah, but I've been alone for 6 years. Perfect. That's what Hashem wants. What do you mean? Hashem wants me alone? Yes. Why does he want me alone? So you prepare yourself for the opportunity he's going to give you after 6 years. Meaning, both the suffering and the celebration are coming from the same place. If a person simply saw that, already suffering ends. Why? Because they realized, okay, this is difficult, but this difficulty is also part of the mission. It's part of the equation. It's part of the whole thing.